Hey, what's going on people? It's SGZ here from the SpartanGameZone, and in this video we'll be ranking all of the Cartel Event loot so you know what to look out for when you're raiding Joey Ultraviolet's mansion. I'll be telling you which underboss has a chance to drop them, explain what they do, and let you know how you can boost their damage. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you could drop a like, and if you enjoyed the content and want to see more, then you can always subscribe, and let's crack into it. We open this countdown of the best legendaries from the Cartel event with the Fish Slap, a unique grenade mod that, like all of these, drops from Joey Ultraviolet, but can also drop from Tyrone Smallums and Fish Slap himself. The Fish Slap isn't a grenade, but an explosive fish that you can whip out when times get tough and start swinging around, figuratively at least. It doesn't deal grenade damage, instead it deals your melee damage, culminating in the most damaging grenade in the game. That's not without some help though, and one key piece to raise its damage is a 150-90 Psycho Stabber that you can find from Borderlands around here in the Meridian outskirts. It'll boost its damage by 590%, and it's definitely worth investing in. After impacting, it'll jump into the air like a spawned salmon, dealing damage each time it lands. It's best suited in setups that focus on melee damage, which is easy to achieve on Amara, but splash damage and elemental abilities will raise its damage also. In a melee focused setup, it'll pop mobs in a single whip of its tail, and do the same to the big balloons. Coming in hot, it's the Grease Trap, a melee 1 pistol that always comes in fire and grease. It can be dropped by both the Roaster and Tenderizer. The Grease Trap isn't your typical multi-elemental melee 1 weapon, it replaces the alt fire mode with the oil from a Saturday night barbecue. Switching to its alternate mode will see you coat your enemies in some extremely flammable liquid that will massively boost the damage of its standard firing mode. That's a great effect that proves extremely useful in a couple of key situations, but I find while mobbing it becomes too much of a chore when the standard mode dishes out damage just fine. However, Amara can make it much more rewarding with her ability to increase weapon mode swap speed. Its unique effect is great while bossing, lathering up those big guys and igniting them will have them burn to a crisp in no time, but you can even do that with friends. My friend is in the form of Zane's Digiclone, as real ones are hard to find. Giving him the Grease Trap will have him ignite the spark as you provide the fuel, culminating in the true power of friendship and some high damage. Overall, it's a great gun even without its alternate firing mode, but that does a lot to make it special. Up next, it's the Yellow Cake, a COV rocket launcher that always comes in radiation and can drop from Fish Slap or Tyrone Smallums. It deals extremely high damage with an equally high splash damage radius and only consumes the 1 bullet per shot, but you can even get a ×2 variant, which is definitely its best thanks to its low ammo consumption. Its projectile pattern is unique however, and does make for some inconsistencies during damage calculation, as it's all based on precision. After travelling a short while, the initial projectile will split off into 2. Those 2 projectiles then split off again after travelling for a short distance themselves, and then fall to the ground. That does make for a wide damage cone, which is great for mobbing, but on the bossing front you'll have to be accurate to get the 4 final orbs crashing into your enemy. It's a powerful rocket launcher on all of the Vault Hunters, but it's best utilised on Moes, who can up the damage and radius of all of its projectiles, making mobbing a yellow cakewalk. For her and anyone using a single shot variant, the Infernal Wish, which you can get from this chest and arms race, combines perfectly with it. It'll double its projectile count, or at least add another half on top of it, making it even stronger than it naturally is. Time now for the O.P.Q, a COV assault rifle that can only come in incendiary and will drop from both the Roaster and Tenderizer. The O.P.Q is big, mean and nasty. It doesn't go pew pew but bang bang. Should be called the Yes Bang Bang, but hey, I don't make the game. It fires 3 pellets per shot, consuming a single bullet, but can also fire 4 or 5 pellets for even greater ammo consumption. It's a gun that wants its trigger held down, growing its fire rate steadily as it nears its overheat cap. Holding it down will see its damage grow, peaking just before it overheats. While mobbing, you don't need to worry about that, as it'll comfortably take out enemies even while cold. For bosses, it'll warm up a bit before taking them down, and it's a great choice weapon on everyone, and a fantastic exponent against flesh. Moving on now to the Needle Gun, a TDR SMG that can come in any element and can be dropped by Franco Firewall and Josie Bite. The Needle Gun came into this hotfix with the 200% damage buff, making it definitely better than you remember. It has a large magazine size and fires glowing needles that travel slowly. They home in on your enemies and seem to merge into one. Every successful shot debuffs your enemies, making them more vulnerable to its attacks, and at max stacks, bullets will also return to your magazine, although that effect does have a small cooldown, but does make a ×2 variant a great choice for even more damage. It's a weapon that gets more powerful with concentrated fire. Health bars will steadily drain before simply disappearing. It's one of few powerful TDR weapons that will take down just about anything if you focus on them enough. Before number 1 is uncovered, let's go over some honourable mentions. First up, it's the Iceberger, a Hyperion shotgun that can only come in fire and can be dropped by the Roaster and the Tenderizer. The Iceberger is a strange shotgun, firing a laser and a burger. Something went wrong at Dr. Evil's drive-thru, but I'm not complaining. It's more of a toy than a weapon, but who said toys can't hurt you? Just ask anyone who's stood on some Lego. It deals decent enough damage and also deals splash damage as the burgers explode, which adds something extra. If you want to feed your enemies while also cooking them with a hot laser, then this gun was made for you. The next honourable mention I have for you is the Watson, one of 2 shields that belong to this Cartel event. It can be dropped from Fishlap and Tyrone Smallums. It's a shield that doesn't take damage lying down. When hit, it has a chance to fire disc-shaped grenades back at your enemies that explode, dealing elemental damage. The element is dependent on the bullet that hit you, and when broken it'll send forth multiple grenades in a wide arc. It's similar in effect to the Impaler and does deal some damage, but not enough to be worth it. The last honourable mention I have for you is the Firewall, another shield exclusive to the Cartel event, dropping from Josie Bite and Franco Firewall. It's similar to the Besker from Arms Race in the way that it reflects bullets, however it only does so while crouched, and only to any bullet that hits its projected shield. However, one key difference is its regen capability, as some of the damage it absorbs will refill it. That makes it useful from a survivability standpoint, as you will be almost impossible to down from the front, and serves as a solid shield for anyone who is comfortable dealing damage while squatting. Number 1, we are here, but who's blocking the view? It's the O.P.Q system, a sleek Atlas weapon that will drop from both Josie Bite and Franco Firewall. The O.P.Q system is a wonderful gun, firing 2 deadly projectiles at a quick pace. It's a gun that is more than the sum of its parts, as it also fires the occasional explosive shock round that boosts its damage even further. That is a big part of making this thing what it is, giving that splash damage factor and elemental twist, which always makes for a great weapon. On top of that, its ult firing mode will have it spawn itself in miniature form, which will target enemies, dealing decent damage and making it just that little bit better. It's pretty much the perfect gun for all characters, dealing amazing damage across the board, with peak power sitting somewhere around 34k, and it might just have surpassed the Monarch. You can't go wrong with it, both while mobbing or while bossing. It'll do what needs to be done, and even stuff that doesn't. So that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, learned about all the Cartel event loot, and which ones you should be looking out for. If you did, consider dropping a like or subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next one.